Alright. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to LiveStream under the Moonshine number 290 tonight. And we continue our visual novel, One Small Fire at a Time. So guys, in the last part 5 of One Small Fire at a Time, which was actually chapter 10 and 11. At the end of chapter 11, it was actually pretty heartbreaking as poor 13-year-old Janice here lost her best friend with Candela, who was also a member of the Eclipse or the Madhouse that she's been at since her parents dropped her off there many years ago. And Janice's parents basically abandoned her. The only thing she knows is this madhouse, and she was sent there as kind of a outcast of society because she can't cast magic in this magical world of Overture that she lives in. The Overture and this world they live on is kind of like a mirror reflection of Earth, if you would, except that magic is everything there, and almost everybody can cast magic, and the whole world revolves around magic. Everybody relies on it. It's about everything. There's machines that use magic, people use magic, the omnibuses use magic. Everybody uses magic on a daily basis, and poor Janice has never been able to use magic like everybody else, so she's an outcast. And that's why she was sent to this madhouse, this lunacy house. So anyway, it was a heartbreaking situation where Candela, her best friend, could definitely use magic, as we saw, and something possessed her, and she was actually using magic in a very harmful way. It was about to destroy everything that was this madhouse of the Eclipse. And the owner, the female owner of the madhouse, and Mr. Poe, Johann Poe, basically used a combination of their own two magics to cast a thunder spell, which sent a lightning bolt into Candela and killed her. The electricity basically sent her crashing back down to Earth. She wound up in Janice's arms and died in Candela's arms, so it was pretty heartbreaking. So here we are, guys. We are on chapter 12, and we're going to go ahead and get right back into One Small Fire at a Time and pick up at the very sad moment where we left off. Welcome back, everybody. By the time Ina had arrived, it was already too late. No matter how many times she had cast Revive, Candela wouldn't open her eyes. It was painful to watch. Deep down, we all knew it would be in vain. But each time Ina cast a spell, we couldn't help but hold to an empty hope. Ina kept trying until she was simply out of mana. Revive is a spell to heal life-threatening injuries, but it can't bring the dead back to life. We know that. Healing magic only works on living things. So yes, we do know that. But for once, we just wanted magic to defy logic. We lay Candela down in a shaded spot under a tree, and we sit nearby and watch her in dreadful silence. The only sounds coming from Ina and Drake sniffling, and the sounds of rocks being summoned by nurses doing makeshift repairs on the ward. Miss Sherwood loiters a few paces away, visibly shaken. Her gaze shifts between the battered building and Candela's dead body. Mr. Sherwood isn't here. Ina said he left his job earlier. Poe slowly makes his way toward Miss Sherwood. I got someone to call the police. They should be here soon. How did this happen, Miss Sherwood? Miss Sherwood just keeps mindlessly staring at the adult ward. I don't know. Oh, really? Are you sure it wasn't your potions? Oh boy. She slowly turns her head to Poe, but says nothing. It was, wasn't it? So, you know about them. Where did those potions come from? Huh. You're not going to talk. Should I come back with Commander Wolf? I'm pretty sure this is all he'll need to detain you and your husband. Oh wow. I don't know if this is the right time to immediately start that. From there, he points at the adult ward. What? From my lab in this building. You made them? The potions were synthesized in your lab? They're artificially created? Yes. And they caused this. We don't know that. They could have, but there's no evidence of that yet. There have been cases of inmates losing control of their magic due to some instability in their minds. What we observed is what inmates who suddenly develop severe symptoms of psychosis are at a higher risk of experiencing loss of control of their magic. Psychosis. You mean hallucinations and the like, which is exactly why Candela died. She was having hallucinations. Yes, hallucinations, delusions, thought disorders, things like that. Candela Carroll was hiding her hallucinations. We brought her here as soon as we found out. We should have suspected sooner that something was amiss. While short-term memory loss is common among inattentive inmates, the way Candela Carroll kept forgetting even the smallest things, it wasn't quite normal. Wait, so this ward isn't actually a ward for adult inmates, but for inmates who have hallucinations? Yes, but not all of them. Only those who suddenly develop new psychotic symptoms. For example, Candela Carroll was diagnosed with inattentiveness, and for years that was her only lunacy. When we discovered she had been hallucinating, we immediately brought her here. Likewise, Fia Leone had been delusional here for a long time, but we only moved her here after she started having auditory hallucinations. But child inmates who were already hallucinating prior to coming to the madhouse were able to stay in the children's ward unless their conditions became substantially worse. Why is that? Why not everyone who has hallucinations? Oh, I think I know. Because you suspect that the newly developed symptoms are linked to your artificial mana potion. Inmates only start using them after they're admitted to your madhouse, is that right? Yes. But we have no evidence proving that yet. We put those inmates in this building so we can observe them, to verify whether or not the symptoms really are caused by the potions. And this isn't evidence enough for you? Poe gestures at the house and to Candela's body. I believe that Candela Carroll lost control of her magic partly because she was too excited to be visited by her friends. That would have caused her to be in an unstable mental state. Oh, does that normally happen to lunatics? No, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was caused by the potions. I see. Poe nods, though clearly unhappy. There's one more thing I want to know. You call this building the adult ward, but it's actually a ward for inmates who suddenly get severe psychosis. Is it a coincidence that no small children develop the symptoms? Probably not. So in other words, those who are moved here are inmates who have consumed your potions for an extended period of time. And inmates who reach 18 years of age without developing any new symptoms. Well, that's consistent with your official story of this being the adult ward, isn't it? He pauses. Why are you risking this, Miss Sherwood? Why are you making your own potions? They're cheaper. Is that the only reason? Are you sure it's not because you want to make a nice profit from selling them? We haven't sold them to anyone yet. Lord Godwin is going to be our first client. I see, but I have a feeling there's a bigger plan for... Ah, It's that, isn't it? The mega project, the plan to turn the eclipse into a mad town. So you've heard about that too. You want the eclipse to be self-sustainable, and one of the necessities for that, the most basic of them, is mana. Wow. O seems to want to ask another question, but he changes his mind when a group of men in blue uniforms arrive. It looks like the police are here. Thank you for answering my questions, Miss Sherwood. Damn. We found out that Miss Sherwood and Mr. Sherwood are making mana potions there themselves because they're cheaper. Even with what he had discovered from Oriel Sherwood, the whole situation was still hazy. After telling the police everything he knew, Johann Poe returned to his lab to collect his thoughts. At this point, there was no question that the Eclipse's mana potions were illegal, but he was now more concerned about the long-term effects of consuming those potions. Wait, were they illegal? One needed a permit to import Temulok from Pantara, the colony to the east, and process it into mana potions. But Johann had never heard of any laws that prohibited artificially cheating such potions. He'd have to talk to Wolf about that tomorrow. Okay. Oh, Professor, welcome back. His assistant greeted him as he entered the laboratory. Johann returned the greeting and then plopped down on a chair. He mulled over everything Oriel Sherwood had told him. He had little doubt that the artificial potions were the primary cause, if indirectly, of the incident that had happened at the eclipse today. But the woman was right. There was no scientific evidence. It was an educated guess at best, a baseless accusation at worst. It wasn't as if he couldn't sympathize with the Sherwoods' cause, to give lunatics their own society, and he understood that they needed to be able to synthesize their own mana potions to support that plan. Even if the potions were harmful, given enough time, Oriel Sherwood would probably be able to eliminate the side effects. If she was successful, it wouldn't be just the Eclipse that got to enjoy the fruits of that research. All of Overture could benefit from that. But what of the children who would have to suffer on the way to that goal? How many more Candela Carols would have to die? However, Johann couldn't be completely sure that the potions were to blame. There was no scientific evidence. Without that evidence, he could make assumptions all day, but he'd never get any closer than to finding the actual truth. Is it possible for a lunatic to acquire a new madness? The professor mused out loud. It's possible, came the answer, to Johann's surprise. For example, someone's anxiety may cause him to also suffer from depression. Well, what about suddenly hallucinating? Blyton rolled her eyes and thought, it's not as common, but I have heard of cases like that. For example, some people who are manic depressive can experience psychosis during one of their manic episodes. Why are you suddenly interested in mental disorders? Johann was the one who wanted to ask his assistant, knew so much about lunacy while he wasn't even sure if he guessed the meaning of manic depressive correctly. He decided, however, to tell Blyton about the eclipse, including what he knew about the Sherwoods and the incident, though he carefully left out anything in regard to the artificial mana potions. What a terrible idea, was what Blyton said after hearing about Fulton Sherwood's plan to transform the eclipse into an isolated community of lunatics. What a terrible theory, was what she said after Johann told her about the alienist's thoughts on madness and statistics. Well, I admit it's certainly an interesting concept, she started. But since since he thinks that any kind of society is possible, why don't you ask him if a society of suicidal people would be able to flourish? Johann pondered his assistant's question. I never thought about asking that. Even if it's possible, I doubt that kind of society would progress very far at all. Exactly. Don't you think he cherry-picked his examples? Not all traits that are statistically small in number are obstructive to society. For example, geniuses are in the minority, but it's advantageous to be one. We don't send them to madhouses, do we? In fact, let's use his own example. I agree that a society of non-magic users can exist. In fact, they do in some parts of the world. But if a magician lived among non-magic users, instead of being mad, wouldn't his ability to use magic become a highly desirable trait? Johann exclaimed, he might even be regarded as a superhuman. Right? Instead of statistics deciding what's normal and abnormal, isn't it the other way around? What do you mean? Well, let's look at it from the perspective of evolutionary biology. Maybe personality traits and behavioral characteristics that cause mental illness were pushed to the small statistical numbers because evolution favors other, more normal behaviors. In other words, society is made up of more rational people than irrational people, not because of random chance, a so-called accidents of statistics theory, but because those with rational thoughts and behaviors are more likely to survive and pass on their genes. Likewise, there are more sociable people than insociable or antisocial people. Why do you think that is? It's because social traits naturally allow a society to function more optimally. Humans evolved to become social creatures to maximize their survivability. Think of it this way. Early humans had to fend off wild animals and deal with natural disasters like volcano eruptions and floods. The ones who stayed or traveled together in groups were more likely to survive than the lone wolves, right? So what you're saying is, Johann said, behaviors that we consider normal aren't just normal because they cater to the majority, but because they themselves are useful evolutionary traits. Yes, exactly. And that's why I don't believe patients with mental disorders should be isolated from normal society, like what that alienist wants to do. Instead of making a lunatic utopia, why not help the patients recover from their illnesses? Why not help them attain the desirable traits that they lack? Interesting, Professor Poe commented. I didn't know you cared so much about this subject. His assistants broke into laughter. I guess I'm just interested in it. I've read a lot of books on psychology and stuff like that. I'm starting to think I'm not cut out to be a magical scientist. He laughed again. Is that so? Johann was suddenly reminded of little Janice and her inability to use magic. Don't you think there's a close relationship between magic and the human mind? Perhaps by studying the human mind, we can deepen our understanding of magic. Maybe, Lighten agreed. You still don't have a topic for your capstone project, do you? Do you want to do your research on this? What, the relationship between magic and psychology? Yes. Alanis Blyton's eyes lit up as she considered Professor Poe's offer. It didn't take her long to give an answer. Yes, please. I'd love to explore the magical mind. Well, there we go. I gaze at my reflection in the monster's beautiful, big, round eyes, noting the stark contrast between my expressionless face and the monster's curled lips. The monster's skirt flutters each time it takes a step forward. Janice, it calls out to me in a sing-song voice that echoes endlessly. I keep watching. I can't move. Or I can, but I don't want to move. I feel like I've been petrified by this monster's gaze. The candela-shaped monster approaches, one step, and then another, but it's still just as far and as close as when it started. And then the candela-shaped monster giggles, raises its candela's hand-shaped hand, and opens it in my direction. The candela-shaped monster's palm gleams and then emits a ray of blinding light. I follow the ray with my eyes, and I watch as it forms a straight line from its palm to the hole that punches through my very chest. Blood spurts out from where my heart should be. Oh, I guess that means I'm dead. Or you're dreaming. And then I see the familiar ceiling. No screaming, no sitting up with a jolt, no cold sweat. It's entirely unlike how waking up from a nightmare is depicted in theater plays or in the storybooks. I wouldn't even call it a nightmare. I watched myself get killed. I believed I was dead, and I was suddenly aware that I was lying awake in bed. I'm not even sure when exactly I woke up. But now that I know it was just a dream, I know that I haven't been killed. I'm actually alive. Someone else who should be isn't. Oh, it's sad. Candela. Why did Candela have to die? I remember Poe and Miss Sherwood discussing her death. I didn't understand a lot of what they were saying, but I think I got the gist of it. Candela died because of me. She lost control of her magic because my visit caused her mind to become unstable. Oh boy, it was all my fault. I killed her. It was all my fault. I murdered Candela. I am a murderer. Everything is all my fault. All my fault. This is so frustrating. Damn it. I want to cry. Cry. I'm sad. I just need to cry. Come on, cry, damn it. I'll feel better after I cry. 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 Cry, god damn it, cry. My eyes remain dry. I'm stricken with grief, but I can't even shed a single frickin' tear. Frustrating. This is so frustrating, so maddening, so infuriating that it makes me want to scream. Scream at the top of my damn lungs. Scream with reckless abandon. Scream as loud as possible. So loud that even the gods and the devils alike and whatever can hear it, wherever they are. Scream and screech and shriek and shrill. And maybe I should go to the seclusion room. No, I'm not going there. People would be able to hear me scream. I don't want people to hear me screaming. But I really, really want to scream. I want to just scream so bad. Ah! I scream in my head. Ah! I scream in my head even louder. Ah! And louder, and louder, and louder. It's no use. Screaming in your head is just like trying to quench your thirst with your own saliva. If anything, it just makes you crave water even more. What a stupid thing to do. Damn, poor Janice, man. Chapter 13, The King's Orders. And that's what happened, the professor concluded his report. Aiden Wolf had already heard about most of what happened yesterday from the officers on the scene, but Johann Poe's more detailed account certainly helped him understand the situation better. He glanced at Job Godwin, who seemed to be more at ease than usual, though he was probably because he was in his own home. Aiden asked him, "Is there anything you would like to add, Job?" "No," the young lord answered. "I wasn't at the eclipse when the incident occurred. I was showing Colton Sherwood the factory building. By the time we returned, the eclipse had already been sealed off by the police." Aiden didn't need to ask any more questions. He already knew what happened afterwards. Upon questioning Colton and Oriel Sherwood, had admitted to making their own mana potions, but had denied the accusations that the potions were the cause of the incident, citing lack of scientific evidence. They were now under a house arrest with the eclipse still completely blocked off by the police. A couple of officers were stationed at the madhouse to keep an eye on the owners and their employees. It wasn't clear whether or not producing artificial mana potions was legal, since there were no legal precedents. Parliament could pass a law prohibiting the artificial creation of mana potions, but that would take time. The police could, however, arrest the Sherwoods on the grounds that their artificial mana potions had put the madhouse inmates in danger. That is, if the potions were indeed harmful. Were they, though? If they weren't, not only could Aiden not arrest Colton and Oriel Sherwood, but he couldn't force them to stop making the potions as well. Aiden couldn't let that happen. He had a duty. This mission came from the king himself. "Johann, what do you think?" the commander asked. "What do I think about what?" "Is there really no evidence?" Aiden immediately noticed Johann's hesitation. He seemed unsure of what to say, but he spoke, finally, while averting his gaze. "We can't draw any conclusions from a single isolated incident. It could have been caused by many things, including the simple fact that Candela Carroll was mad. A mad person doing a mad thing isn't unthinkable, you know." "That's true," Aiden said with a sigh. "But what about those questions you asked Oriel Sherwood? Do you suspect that the potions can cause people to hallucinate?" "I suspect that consumption of the potions is correlated with the development of psychosis in inmates. But, well, it's only a hypothesis. Any scientist will tell you that even if there is a correlation, it doesn't necessarily imply causation." "Yep." "So you don't think the Sherwoods are guilty?" "There's no proof that they're guilty. That's all I can say at the moment." Johann," Job Godwin interrupted, "is that really what you think?" "Yes." Job said, "I understand that, as a scientist, you need to know all the facts and follow certain procedures before you can arrive at a conclusion. But we don't always know all the facts, and oftentimes we have to make decisions based on the limited knowledge that we do have. That's what my team has to deal with every single day. However, they're problem solvers. I expect them to give me answers if I ask questions, because if they don't, I can't make any business decisions." Johann, if we don't do anything, the Sherwoods will continue to give the children at the eclipse those potions. Forget science for once. Stop being Professor Poe for just a moment. Don't you think the potions are dangerous? Would you let the children continue taking them? Are the potions dangerous? That's the problem? I don't know. I drank that potion myself and it didn't make me psychotic or anything, did it? Well, maybe you have to consume large doses for extended periods of time before... And suddenly, Johann fell silent. Johann? It did. It affected me. Johann paused. Wolf, do you remember when we were talking at Eclipses after you found Drake? After I found Drake? That time, I thought I heard a scream, remember? Oh yeah. Aiden recalled what had happened after he found the boy. Johann had suggested that they come back the next day for the meeting when he interrupted himself. Did someone just scream? It wasn't Drake, was it? Scream? You didn't hear it? No. Huh? Did anyone else? No, I didn't. I didn't hear anything either. Oh, how strange, but I guess it was just my imagination. He remembered the conversation now. Several people said they didn't hear the scream. Yes, I do remember that, Aiden said. You mean you were hallucinating? Ooh, possibly I was. After all, I was the only one who heard that scream, right? You, Colton, and Janice were all there, but none of you heard anything. But didn't we hear another scream later that evening? Yes, but the boy in the seclusion room, but now that I think about it, I think those screams may have been different. I might have hallucinated the first one. Then again, people mishear things all the time. That one little incident doesn't prove anything. Johann paused again, thinking for a long moment, but finally said, however, even though there's still no conclusive evidence, there have been a large number of warning signs. Joff's right. I have to consider what's best for the children. They're not just some inmates in a madhouse anymore. I've seen them, spoke with them. I personally know some of them, like Janice and Drake. Sherwood wants to give them a place where they live as themselves, which is probably why he thinks giving them artificial mana potions is worth the risk of psychosis. But he's wrong. I think he's wrong. My assistant convinced me that lunatics need help to recover from their lunacy. But these potions may actually aggravate their conditions. The key word, though, he's saying is may. They may aggravate. The professor took a deep breath before he continued, no longer hesitating. After the incident that ended with Candela Carroll's death, it's difficult not to conclude that the potions are indeed dangerous. No, I'm fairly certain that they are. The children should stop taking them immediately. That's what I needed to hear, Aiden said. Thank you, Johann. Commander Wolf left to report directly to the king, satisfied that he had fulfilled his duty. Now the fate of Colton and Oriel Sherwood, as well as the Eclipse, was in the king's hands. Oh, damn. Drama. Joff Godwin was relieved to know that the situation with the Eclipse would soon come to an end. He didn't mind working with the police, but he had his own business to worry about. It was a shame, though, that he wasn't able to get cheap mana potions from Colton Sherwood. Granted, he had expected the deal to fall through because the potions were illegal. He supposed he should be glad that he didn't end up buying them. The last thing he wanted was a bunch of workers hallucinating while they were worked. Yeah? He watched as Professor Poe reclined on the sofa, now looking a lot more relaxed than he had when Wolf was here. Joff was wondering when the commander would return to debrief them when he heard someone knock on the door. Something's gonna happen here. Come in, he said. Good evening, my lord. The man in the uniform greeted Joff as he stepped into the room. For a second, Joff thought it was Wolf, because of the familiar uniform, but it turned out to be another police officer. My lord, Commander Wolf sent me to tell you that he will not be coming back here this evening. He will see you and Professor Poe tomorrow. Well, where is he? He's going to the madhouse, my lord. Joff didn't like what he heard. Was he going to do at the madhouse? What was he going to do at the madhouse this late? Orders from the king. Oh shit. Creating dangerous mana potions that could harm the minds of our young people is an unforgivable crime. Everyone involved is to be executed immediately. Oh shit! Oh shit! So the king, he went and reported this suspicion that the mana potions are endangering the children from Johann Poe, and Commander Aiden Wolf went to report this to the king, thinking he had satisfied his request from the king to find out that the mana potions are illegal, if they're up to illegal stuff. And the king immediately ordered Aiden, the Commander Wolf, to go back to the Eclipse and immediately execute everybody that has been responsible for giving mana potions to the kids there. Oh, damn, this is intense. Wow. Wow. What did you say? Johann Poe sprang from the sofa. I only said that the children should stop taking the potions. Those are the king's orders, Professor. That clearly didn't make Johann feel any better. He was seething. Joff wasn't feeling any better either. In fact, something the officer had said simply bothered him. Everyone involved. Now, that's not good. Who exactly was everyone? Couldn't he just say Colton and Oriel Sherwood? Mr. and Miss Sherwood? Or the Sherwoods? The owners? Joff decided to ask. Who did you mean by everyone involved, officer? Colton and Oriel Sherwood and all their employees, the policeman answered. It was exactly what Joff feared. The employees as well? The nurses too? Yes, my lord. Aren't the employees innocent? What evidence is there to suggest their involvement at all? They work under Colton Sherwood. We must assume they're involved. Oh boy. You assume? You want to kill people based on an assumption? Joff's own tone surprised him. He didn't usually explode like this, but even he was angry now. Those are the king's orders, my lord. The king's orders. Was that the only thing this stupid policeman could say? Since when could a policeman talk about the king's orders? No, this wasn't an ordinary policeman. He knew too much. The king's orders. Joff remembered that there was one unit in the police force that could be mobilized under the king's direct order. Anything else, my lord? The dragoon asked. Joff shook his head. He was too tired, too irritated, angry, worried, afraid, and who knows what else he was feeling to give a proper answer. The dragoon bowed his head and left, presumably to catch up with the rest of his squad. Oh boy. The dragoon. The king sent out the police's most elite special forces unit. He wasn't playing around. Joff didn't know what made him so curious. So what if Wolf and the dragoons wanted to kill Colton Sherwood and Oriel Sherwood and everyone, including the alienists and the nurses, and Ina? They were going to kill Ina. Joff had asked Ina about the mana potions, and Ina had said she knew nothing about them. She even had to ask around to get information about Colton Sherwood's mega project. Joff knew that she hadn't lied about that. Ina was actually innocent. He was sure of it. His legs moved before he knew it. Stop! Where are you going? Johann yelled. The madhouse. I'm coming with you. Oh boy. Boy, this is getting intense. Holy shit, this is so good. We're all kept inside the ward after dinner by a bunch of policemen. It was an unusual dinner. We're used to not seeing Mr. and Miss Sherwood at mealtimes. We know they're sometimes dine at the other ward, but none of the nurses ate with us either. Not that it matters, of course. I don't really care who I eat with. Time passes. Some kids are playing together. A few have retired to their rooms, but most of us just sit here quietly and watch the policemen, sometimes whispering to each other. Everyone can tell that something's up. We might be insane, but we're not stupid. Suddenly, the door opens. A policeman bursts in. Sir, the dragoons have arrived. Good. Direct the dragoons to the big yard behind this building where we've gathered all the suspects. Oh boy. Yes, sir. The policeman who just came in leaves. Oh boy. Did he say the dragoons are here? Dragoons are people like Commander Wolf, right? Yeah. What's going on? I don't know. Why don't you ask one of those cops, Drake? Remember, he said he has anxiety and a fear of talking to people. Drake looks around. He sees one of the boys in his gang and calls him. Hey, you, go ask the policeman what's going on. Okay. The boy goes up to one of the cops. Mister, what's going on? Can we go outside? You can't, kid. Just be patient. You'll be able to go out tomorrow. In fact, you'll have to go out tomorrow. Huh? Why? We're closing this madhouse down. The owners will be arrested. The kids let out a chorus of gasps. They rise from the seats and crowd around the policeman. What? What are you saying? What are you arresting Mr. and Miss Sherwood? Yeah, why? They're kind to us. Where will we live after you close down the madhouse? They're tricking you. They've been using you to experiment with bad things. If we don't stop them, they're going to do stuff that will make you go mad. But we're already mad. It will make your madness even worse. You'll start hallucinating and things like that. So what if we hallucinate? Some of us already do that. Well, they're bad people, okay? We will find other madhouses for you, so don't worry. Will we still stay together? Probably not, I'm sorry. But we want to stay together. And Mr. and Miss Sherwood aren't bad people. They're so nice to us. The kids continue to swamp the policeman with questions. They absolutely hate the idea of closing the madhouse down and getting Mr. and Miss Sherwood arrested. Even the kids who were in their rooms have come out and joined the others. They must have heard the commotion and gotten curious. Janice, are they going to close the madhouse because of Candela's death? Yeah, I think. And Mr. and Miss Sherwood caused her death. I know she died from Miss Sherwood's thunder, but Miss Sherwood cast a spell to save you, right? Was Candela's death? Or was it really Mr. and Mr. Sherwood's fault? Was it? It certainly seemed that way from how Poe questioned Miss Sherwood after the incident. Something about mana potions and stuff like that. But no, if Poe thought Miss Sherwood was guilty, he was wrong. Because I know the truth. No, it wasn't their fault, Drake. It was my fault. Yeah, you think so too, right? It couldn't be their fault. Mr. and Miss Sherwood are really nice. I heard Miss Sherwood was really worried when I left, and Miss Sherwood made me delicious food when I got back. We can't let the police arrest them. Janice, we have to do something. Do something? What are we gonna do? No. Huh? I couldn't even save a friend. What the hell am I gonna do? What do you mean, no? Come on, we gotta do something. There's nothing I can do. I'm just as powerless now as I was when I watched Candela die in my arms. Janice, I won't do anything. Oh, why? You don't think Mr. and Miss Sherwood are bad people, do you? No, I don't know. But it's not okay for the police to arrest them, is it? Is it okay? Should the police arrest Mr. and Miss Sherwood? No, of course not. They got the wrong murderer. They should arrest me instead. Oh, poor Janice. No. Right, then let's do something. Do something? Oh, I can't do anything. Candela died because I did do something. No, I won't do anything, Drake. You won't do anything? You're just gonna let the police arrest Mr. and Miss Sherwood? Yes. What? Don't you care about them? Don't you care about this madhouse? I don't hate Mr. and Miss Sherwood. I'm not sure if I'd call them kind, but they're certainly better than most people are. This madhouse is also a decent place. I often get picked on by the other kids, but I've lived here for a long time, and I've gotten really used to it. No, I don't care. You! I misjudged you. I thought you were pretty cool, having fought me and all that. You even wanted to risk your life to save Candela. But now you're going to just let this happen? Yeah? Drake's body begins to shake. Then he explodes. Well, I'll do something then. We've already lost Candela. I don't want to lose this madhouse too. I'll stop them. I'll stop the police. Drake glowers at me. Anger, sadness, and disappointment mix in his scowl. Janice, I'll ask you again. Since you don't think the police should arrest Mr. and Miss Sherwood, are you really just going to stay right here and let them do that? Yeah? Oh boy. And with a frustrated grunt, Drake stomps away and heads straight for the front door. But when he stops in front of the policeman guarding the door, he can only stare at the floor anxiously, his shoulders trembling, and his clenched fist just shaking. Damn! Yeah, he ain't getting out. What is it, kid? Drake doesn't answer. He tries to open his mouth, but no voice comes out. His lips quiver. But then, slowly, he lifts his head. I won't let you. Huh? Sorry? I didn't hear you. What did you just say? I'll stop you. Drake darts past the police officer and heads out of the house. Hey, come back here! Damn. The policeman runs after him. The other kids watch in amazement. Hey, let's follow Drake! Yeah, let's save the madhouse! Yeah, let's go! They follow Drake outside. The policemen try to stop them, but just a few officers aren't enough to do anything. They end up chasing the kids. Huh. And now I'm the only one still in the ward. I drag my feet upstairs to go to my room. Wow. I sit in my bed, not even bothering to turn the light on. So they're going to close this madhouse down, huh? I've been here for a long time. I thought I'd be here forever. Well, it doesn't matter now. Who cares where I live? Without magic, I don't have a future anyway. People will just continue to mock me and pick on me for not being able to use magic. Whether I'm bullied in a madhouse or on the side of a dirty street somewhere, it really makes no difference to me. I just don't care. I don't care about this madhouse. I don't care about the kids here. I don't care about Mr. and Miss Sherwood. I don't care about the alienists and the nurses here. They're not my friends. I don't have any friends anymore. Let them close the madhouse down. The police can do whatever the hell they want. I just don't care. I get up and walk to the desk. I pick up Candela's sketchbook. A nurse found it while she was cleaning the adult ward after the incident. Thankfully, it wasn't damaged. Candela gave me this sketchbook as a birthday present. Candela, what would you do if you were here? You'd want to do something too, wouldn't you? But I'm not like you, Candela. I'm weak. I guess I'm even weaker than Drake. And to think, I once called him a coward. I turned the pages. Looking at that picture she drew of her and Ina. Candela was really strong, wasn't she? She knew she was hallucinating, but she tried to live with them without telling anybody. I turned the pages again, and I stopped at a page with a drawing in it. It's my birthday party. The drawing shows me, Ina, Candela, and the others sitting around my birthday cake, and all of us are smiling. Candela even drew herself in the picture. Did everyone really look that happy? Even I look happy in this picture. I don't remember ever smiling like that. Maybe Candela hallucinated smiles on everybody's faces. That was it, right? That's the only explanation here. No one would be happy for me, right? Right? They were probably just happy because of that cake. What a stupid cake. Ina even wanted me to make a wish before blowing out the candles. But I didn't make a wish because... A wish. Candela made one. She made a wish in my stead. She said, I wish everyone here will be friends forever. Damn. Wow, so that is the end of chapter 13, guys, and that's also where we come to an end with this, part 6. Guys, we got 2 chapters remaining before we wrap this whole thing up, and it has gotten really good. So remember, the policemen are wanting to basically kill Mr. and Miss Sherwood. They are wanting to also kill Ina and all the nurses and everybody else that works for the madhouse. And the kids have run outside trying to stop them desperately because they don't want the madhouse gone. They think that Oriel and Colton are going to be arrested. But no, they're lining them up to get killed, to get shot. What's going to happen in the end? I have to wait and find out in part 7. I do want to go and thank you for listening in and watching this very dramatic part 6, which was chapter 12 and 13. And we will read the final climax and see how it all winds up in part 7 tomorrow night. I do want to go and thank you guys for being here. We'll see you in the next episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure you comment down below and let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know if you're enjoying this visual novel and my reading of it. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.